Thanks, everybody. It's always an honor to get to do this talk, and it's lovely to see everybody for it. So, the state of Racket is strong. Yes, it's not enough ties for the usual State of the Union announcement, but yes, the state of Racket continues to be strong. We're doing great. We have tons of people here on the live stream. We're seeing a new place, visiting new people, and doing well. So the primary thing that the Racket community does is be a community and hang out together. But I don't have to announce that because we're all here. So the other sort of secondary thing that the Racket community does is produce software. And we continue to do that. I have to say that it continues to impress me as someone who grew up in an earlier age of software releases, that we have on schedule put out another 4 releases like clockwork. This is, in some sense, the boring part of my talk because there's always 4 numbers that appear on the screen here, but it in fact involves a lot of work, primarily by John Clements, who does the release management, but can't be here today. And I also know Matthew did a bunch of work to automate yet more of that infrastructure. We have come a long way from when software releases was, whenever it's done, we put a tarball on a web page. Yeah, there's lots of great stuff in all of these releases. So one important announcement about the releases is that as of 8.18, we're not shipping binary builds of Racket BC anymore. There's lots of people who have joined the community since Racket BC stopped being a thing that anyone would want to download. So perhaps this is overdue, but fundamentally Racket CS is better in platform coverage, performance, compatibility, features, you name it, unless you have a strong hankering for Intel extended floating point, that you're probably best served by Racket CS. And so we have made John's life simpler by not building another 30 binaries for all the platforms with Racket BC. 30 is maybe an exaggeration, but I'm not sure in which direction. So BC still exists. I still get emails when it breaks, even when it breaks random obscure tests, and then I make Matthew fix it. But it still exists, but you should use Racket CS. And if for whatever reason your friends or anyone you know is not currently being well served by Racket CS as opposed to Racket BC, you should tell us so that we can address that, unless it's because you have a sick desire for extended precision floating point, and then I can't help you. But more seriously, Racket BC is old and painful, and there may come a time where we don't want to keep fixing bugs in it, but we don't want to do that if someone is finding it valuable for their use cases. But what we really want to do in that case is help you figure out how Racket CS can be better for you. So that's one important thing to say about releases. There's, of course, lots of new and exciting things that have been shipped in those Racket releases. So Dr. Racket has some cool new features. One I particularly like is that now when I start up Dr. Racket, all my files are open again, same as in other editors that were built after Emacs was invented. So that's a fun new feature, and Dr. Racket now supports some fancier indentation features, which is something driven by, you'll not be surprised to learn, Rhombus, because Rhombus, of course, needs those indentation features. You could see Matthew in his talk cycling through different indentation levels, and Dr. Racket does that nicely. And this is, of course, configurable for your language, how indentation and tab work. Raco package grew some new features. You can now call Raco package uninstall if you like the parallelism between install and uninstall and found the previous situation confusing. Fortunately, my muscle memory hasn't learned uninstall yet. But I'm sure that'll come in another 10 years. The package system also supports things like handling systems that struggle to provide checksums since checksums are not a high security mechanism anyway. So this continue to make this possible to distribute packages in more different ways. Some improvements to XML. So XML reading is now a couple times faster because we discovered various inefficiencies there. And some people struggled with and then contributed a fix for the lack of serialization there. So that's continuing to just fix various things that cause paper cuts at low levels in the stack.
Stolen.
Yeah.
It wasn't my idea.
Yes. Yeah, Philip did a lot of good work there. Platform support continues to improve. There's now binaries for Linux on ARM. If you're buying a new ARM laptop to run Linux on, there's a new compilation target for iOS. There's if you're distributing Racket on iOS as part of an iOS application, and continue to try to make new platforms work well in Racket as the computing landscape evolves. And there's been a variety of changes at the Shea scheme level sitting underneath Racket that are mostly driven by things we want to improve at the Racket level, but need those sorts of low-level fixes, optimizations, and type inference improvements, new support for different kinds of foreign functions that then feed into improvements at the Racket level, and then maybe those will feed into the FFI improvements at the Rhombus level that Matthew was talking about. New support for compare and swap on different kinds of data structures, upgrading Unicode 6 to Unicode 16, again, driven by maintaining that support in Racket as well. And it is now the case that the Racket community is driving most of the forward progress in Shea scheme, I think it's fair to say. And so that's nice to see. Multiple people I know have taken the thing that they want to accomplish in Racket, seen that making changes at the Shea level is the right way to do that, and gotten involved and made those improvements there. And so that's both driving improvements for our community, but also those improvements benefit anyone else using Shea scheme. There's various other small features. whether you want to access the bits of floating point numbers or change the strategy for checking your Redux models. Lots of things have happened. And then there's tons of things that have happened in community-driven projects. I feel like I had mentioned them every year, but the Chi project has continued to do lots of cool stuff and push the boundaries on building interesting new languages on top of Racket, very different direction from what Matthew showed last talk. And that's, so lots of cool stuff happening in terms of things people are building on top of Racket. Now, we just heard a lot about Rhombus. The thing I want to emphasize is the way that the development of Rhombus continues to drive improvements at the Racket level that benefit everybody who uses Racket, even if you, like me, are a diehard parentheses fan. Improvements to the JSON and XML libraries driven by desire to build things in Rhombus, improvements in the Dr. Racket driven and its ability to respond to different languages driven by the needs of Rhombus. And that happens in lots of different levels of the stack. The demodularizer that Matthew is showing off, again, driven by wanting to make that possible for Rhombus, but it also works great for whatever Racket program you're running. The various Racket command line utilities that I write work start up faster because of the demodularizer as well. Last year at this time, I talked about the creation of the Racket Foundation. Since then, things have moved a little slower than we had hoped, but progress continues to be made, and we have a corporation that has 501c3 status, and in the next couple months, I think it will be able to be the only financial home for Racket going forward, which will just make things simpler and easier for our community in terms of managing the finances for things like this great event. And fortunately, I didn't have to do any of that, but I know there's lots of work that Stephen and Matthew and other people put into making an event like this happen that requires money, and this will make things easier and allow us to spend more of the money that you all pay in tickets and that many people have contributed to the Racket project, and spend that more on making Racket a great community and a great piece of software. But this isn't going to change anything about how Racket works, and it's really just about the financial management. There's no plans for this to be anything about managing Racket via some new set of rules or anything like that. And I want to talk about one more thing. So, this is a feature that many people have wanted since since before maybe even I was in the Racket community, but the next version of Racket is going to have parallel threads. You will be able to write thread. You can write thread and run multiple expensive computations in parallel on your high-performance parallel supercomputer like this one. So Racket has, over the years, grown a variety of parallelism features, and building on those and on the opportunities provided by moving to rebuild Racket on top of Shea Scheme. It's now possible to use threads and explicitly say that you want those threads to run in parallel. Those are then multiplexed in an appropriate way that you can control with thread pools and onto a set of hardware threads. And not only does this exist, it actually works pretty well. So here's a benchmark that one of my students, Xiao Chen, wrote. This is just merge sort, which is a classic parallelizable algorithm. And you can see as we add threads, this is on a 20-core machine, things just keep getting faster all the way out to 20 cores. And not only that, they don't get slower when we run with 256 threads either. So this is not perfect scaling. There's lots of possibilities for improvement, but this is a really big and potentially significant improvement for Racket that I think could drive a lot of valuable new work, but is going to require work by people who want to use this to take advantage of parallel hardware to accomplish, whether it's doing your research computation in parallel thought, or whether it's running a web server on multiple cores. Those things are not going to scale incredibly well as merge sorting vectors of integers right out of the box. But there's a lot of potential that we have and that we can exploit as a community to make Racket not just performant in the ways it has always been, but also performant as a system for writing parallel computation. And I think lots of people will benefit from that, and but there's lots of work to do. As a result of this big change, our plan is to call the next release of Racket 9.0. This only indicates that we think it's level 9 cool, and not that we're planning to break anything about your programs. If your programs previously featured the make parallel thread pool identifier, then 9.0 might cause an unfortunate identifier conflict. But other than that, neither the parallel threads nor any other changes that we're planning for Racket 9.0 are intended to be any more backwards incompatible than any other Racket release. We've been testing this stuff, and as far as you can just download the nightly snapshot and it works. Everything seems to keep working. But this is an opportunity to emphasize to people beyond this room all the exciting things that we've built over the last 19 releases since Racket 8. With Racket 8, for people who do not immediately recall, was when the default switched to Racket on Shea. And so now we've built on that foundation all the way up to the exciting new things that are coming in Racket 3.0. So that's the other exciting announcement, but I would say primarily it's an opportunity for us all as a community and to communicate outside of our community about the cool things that we've done. And as I said at the beginning, the primary thing that Racket is a community of people, and that's why it's such a great time to get to come here, see everybody that I haven't gotten to see since we were in Seattle a year ago, or people I haven't gotten to see in longer than that. And meet new faces, bring new people who are excited about Racket into this community, and have a good time, and occasionally ship some cool software along with it. So thank you to the people who made this amazing event happen. Stephen is the primary person who deserves credit, but also Bogdan, who did a huge amount of work to put together the program and the speakers and get everything set up for that. And then additionally, our fabulous MC and Matthew and Robbie, who have done, as always, a ton of work behind the scenes. So thank you to all of them. And thank you to all of you who have made this the 15th RacketCon, which still kind of blows my mind.
Excellent.
Thank you.